Hello and welcome to Get Celebritized. I am your host, Aurea McGarry, and I am so excited to have you here tonight again for our regular Wednesday night live show. That if you're listening to this in a podcast, we repurpose this into a wonderful podcast that can go throughout the world. And I am absolutely loving the new way that we're doing business in this climate, which is repurposing things, getting our voices out there in so many different ways, whether we're using social media platforms like Clubhouse, or whether we're doing podcasts, or we're on Spotify or green rooms, or you're doing lives, or there's just so many ways your voice could get heard. So I have news for you. You can stop being the best kept secret in your industry now, and you can get out there and let people hear your voice. Let people get to know you and hear the pain you solve that they need to know about. There's people out there that need to know what you do, how you serve them, the product you sell them, the way you solve a pain that they have. You're really doing the world a disservice if you don't get on the airwaves or get into video and let the world not just see these pretty posts and everything all nice and printed. They need to hear you and see you. So everyone, young and old, get your message on camera. And I love to help you do that with my Celebritize Your Business masterclasses that I do. So if you really want to learn how to do that and you need my help, you can always go to my Instagram at Aurea McGarry Productions and DM me the word masterclass. And I'd love to help you for free with that class. So without any further ado, I want to introduce you to two amazing women tonight. You know that I bring you the best of the best. I bring you celebrities and celebrities in their industry who are crushing it in their business. And they come on this podcast, Get Celebritized, to help show you some things that they've done right, maybe some things they've done wrong, so you can learn from mistakes, and maybe they've overcome some amazing, huge obstacles and dragons in their life, and they've come out the other end successful. They're here to share with you how, the nuts and bolts. So we're not only going to just inspire you that you can do it, we're going to give you some tools and strategies and some weapons of business that you're going to need to slay those dragons and make your dreams come true. So my first guest tonight is an amazing global woman empowering others. She has been a longtime friend of mine for over 10 years. She's going to share some success and strategy tips with you, some great stories. She is a world traveler and a world influencer, a high fashion model, a woman worth warrior in the industry of finance. You are going to get the whole enchilada package with this beautiful one. Renee Knorr is the founder of Global Women Wealth Warriors. She is passionate about empowering women and girls to live their life out in color, soaring to new levels of creativity. The organization has provided financial literacy and health and wellness programs to over 500 women and more. From mentorship courses annually for the Global Warrior Girls, they are dedicated to impacting. Listen to this. They are dedicated, and they'll do it because when Renee gets a goal, she achieves it. They are dedicated to impacting 1 million women reaching their dreams by fulfilling their goals. I can't wait to bring up to you, dearest friend of mine, Renee Knorr, the beautiful one. Welcome, Renee, to the show.
Thank you so very much, Aurea. Thank you for having me. You're looking so gorgeous yourself.
Yes, you too. Yes. You're my inspiration for beauty. Renee, I have never seen you on an off day. I mean, your casual going to the store is high fashion glamour. And I love that about you because you are as beautiful on the inside. And I always tell everybody this, as you are on the outside. Women might look at you and say, oh my gosh, she's so gorgeous. She must be all about herself. And you are the complete opposite. I have known you now probably almost 10 years, and you care about everybody. You check in on everybody. You are not just a woman wealth warrior. You love with all your heart. And that's so special, especially in this day and time when kindness matters. And kindness is cool now. So it's good to know, right?
Well, that's one of the perfect reasons why you and I have been friends for so long, Aurea, because of that genuine law of attraction, they would say, but also you are a person that have always been intentional with your mission alongside with your message, but most importantly with your heart. And because of that, oh my goodness, you had me at hello, and you can never let me go at all. And I love you for just
Oh,
being the woman that you are, the courageous woman, always having a voice and always being able to elevate others. Thank you.
oh, right back at you. Two peas in a pod. It's true. Like minds think alike, and they attract each other. And I am so glad that we both live here in the Atlanta area, and we actually know each other. We've been to each other's events. We've spoken on each other's stages. So, in this day and age of this pandemic, it's been too long since I've hugged people and been on stages. But we've been able to reconnect on platforms like Clubhouse and just being social media and on podcasts, which is great. We've got to find ways to stay connected. But before we get into some tools of success, because you are just a wealth of great information, and people listen up. She's got some amazing techniques and tools she's going to tell you about to help you become wealthy or wealthier right now, today, if you want that, if that's something you want. So first of all, tell them a little bit about you and who you are.
Yeah, well, thank you. Coming from, I always say, the little girl from New Orleans, Louisiana, I never allow people to think that I'm born and raised in Atlanta, even though Atlanta has been great to me. I come from New Orleans, Louisiana, and being able to give birth to a mission of a women empowerment, but at the same token, having the vision to want to move mountains. It's so funny
You do.
because being that little girl from New Orleans, it's like, you want to move mountains? Really? Yes. I
Yeah,
wanted to
powerful
move.
women are born everywhere. Those little powerful girls are born everywhere. And we want to give them
Yes.
hope. Dream big. And if you have to get out of your hometown when you grow up, then do. Sometimes you have to get out, sometimes you don't. But we're so glad
Yes.
you came to Atlanta.
I'm glad I came to Atlanta, and some of my travels also included being a Ebony Fashion Fair model. So of course, that whole fashion and beauty, alongside with the financial literacy, has been able to help me to bridge the gap. And I don't take any of my journey for granted, And I'm grateful that I am a mother now of a 21-year-old college student that's right there grinding it out, loving, living in her purpose and her passion, and also being, I wouldn't say she's in mommy's footsteps, because I don't even like saying that at all, Aurea. I love the fact that my daughter have found her way. And what I do appreciate, she too loved giving back, making an impact to other students, as well as some of our underrepresented girls. And she is making intentional efforts in making a difference in the world. So I'm grateful for my daughter, Renee Knorr.
And she's beautiful just like her mother, for sure. You guys look like sisters. How tall are both of you? Because people can't see her or see you guys. They're listening in or they're watching us as we're sitting. Because you both are
Yes.
just so tall. And again, you're tall in stature and beauty and insight as well. So how tall are you guys?
On her great day, that's what I have to say. She's my mini. I'm her mini me now. She's staying 6 feet tall, and
Oh
I'm
my.
5'11" on my average days. But when you usually see us around, we're always wearing our heels. So I would say we're about 6'3", 6'4",
Yeah, you are.
typically when you see us standing, and I just love it.
And you should embrace
Yes.
your height, whether you're short or tall. Embrace all who you are. You're just so gorgeous. And again, you
Oh,
give back
thank
in
you.
so many great ways. Tell us a little bit before we get into the wealth warrior and we get into
Mhm.
some really great tips on financial success. Because I know the listeners and the viewers really need to know some nuts and bolts on how they can impact their business and how women, especially, can not just dream about being a millionaire, but can be one, not regret it, not feel embarrassed about it. Because we know that when women are wealthy, we help our communities, which is such an impactful thing to do. So without hesitation, without embarrassment, be a millionaire, be an entrepreneur, business boss gal, and earn more so you can live more, because we know you give back more. But I want them to know just a little bit more about your fashion career, because you are really, you're the beautiful, you're known as the beautiful one here in Georgia, and it's for a very good reason.
Well, I appreciate that. By way of being known as the ugly one, coming from New Orleans, I used to be known as the ugly duckling, guys.
No,
Okay, and
can't imagine.
yeah, ugly duckling, too
Nope.
tall Jones, and walking and becoming into this person that I've evolved into. I'm grateful for it. Being able to stay the course, and that's what in everything, and how they say, how you do anything is how you should do everything. Stay in
Mm.
the course, being consistent, and having fun as well. I always had big dreams ahead of myself, thanks to my mother. And because of my mother, Willie Mae Wilson, she instilled so many great things, especially when it comes down to fashion. Before I even knew what fashion was about, Aurea, my mother was right there.
Mm.
She always made sure her handbag had to be associated with her shoes, but she always was a lady with great stature. And because of her, I feel as if also she gave me my ability to want to even get into this whole fashion world. Now, I'll say this: I've always had a sense of fashion because it's just a part of my DNA. It's a
Hmm.
part of who I am. My father, it's so funny. I always was growing up so fast, right? I was wearing Pee Wee Herman's pants before they were even cool. And
Now,
I
wait
would
a
take
minute. Is
my
that on the runway? No.
yeah, so we had capri pants thanks to Renee before it was even anything really fashion forward. But what I would do back at school, I would wear my dad white shirt, I would wear his necktie, wear a belt, and I would always cuff my pants up because they were going to be too short anyways. And so I always had just a sense of style and fashion. I had this fabulous black satin jacket that I would wear to high school. They used to call me Miss Jackson. And I just love putting my own little pins and brooches, and just always had a sense of style. And
Mm.
so still till today, I feel
Oh,
as if
absolutely you do.
that resonates very well with me. I'm grateful to say that fashion was definitely one of those vehicles I allowed myself to just embody it, to learn it, but most importantly, to share it. So therefore, I can help empower other girls as well.
You said something that it comes naturally to you, the fashion, and it really does. My mom was a cosmopolitan model, and she had that sense of style. I did not get that. Although you always see me dressed up because my daughter Angel dresses me. Remember that. I'm a tomboy
I
at heart.
love her.
Yeah, amazing. But I can't put an outfit together unless it's Garanimals. Okay, the tiger goes with the tiger. I just can't do it. And I've always just been just a tomboy. But my daughter, it skipped me and went to my daughter, and she's got that sense of style. She can put an outfit together, she can accessorize. So it is a gift. So going up into the fashion industry, what is your highest um like how high did you reach? Like, what's your greatest accomplishment in fashion? And did that open any doors for you in your career?
Absolutely. I feel as if my highest accomplishment, not only being an international, one of the one of the high peaks in my journey, because I never ever had the ability to think about modeling every day with the longest traveling tour, but also having the opportunity of working alongside with Oscar De La Renta, you know,
Ooh,
being the
nice.
household model with Tadashi for 8 years, and also working alongside for Diane von Furstenberg, as well as some of the greatest Emmanuel Angara. So
Wow.
being able to have those names a part of your legacy, it means a lot. Again, I don't take anything for granted because it was
Right.
a lot of hard work. And
Of
what a
course it
lot of
is.
people don't realize, don't let the beauty fool you guys. You really have to put into the work ethics, the consistency, showing up on time. Okay. And that's something, thanks to my father, I learned about work ethics.
What do you think gave you the biggest break? Because there's a lot of probably girls listening or mothers listening that have girls that desire to be a fashion model. And it is good, big business. It's hard business. It is work by every sense of the being. It is not standing around just looking pretty. It is hard work. I've known models and I know you and I know the work that goes into it. So if you could tell the girls aspiring to be a model, they've got what it takes, they got what they look for. What are some ways they can get a break, or how did you get some of your big breaks? You mentioned all these really cool names, but they didn't just knock on your door. How did you walk into their door?
Well, you know what it is? I was always there intentional. I always made sure I showed up on time. And sometimes what we have to realize, it's not so much about us, it's about what we can do to bring value to the designer. A lot of models have to take themselves out of the equation. Yes, you have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of your skin. You have to stay active. And most importantly, you always have to be ready. But if they give you something to wear and you do not want to wear it, you cannot voice your opinion because your opinion doesn't even matter at this point in time. It's
You're a coat
business.
hanger.
Yes, you are a coat hanger. And you better be grateful that you can fit into that particular garment, because if you can't, chances are they'll be sending you home. Now, I almost had that as well, Aurea.
I'm sure.
I was tested because when you're traveling on the road, you take on different types of eating habits that you're not used to. And, one of the great things about being a part of Ebony Fashion Fair, we were definitely the longest traveling tour in the world. Traveling from 32 different states, traveling outside the country. Some of my fascinating places I've traveled to. I will always say Canada has to be probably one of the cleanest states that ever exists. That's one of my favorite places. But also after traveling with Ebony Fashion Fair, I went off to Paris and I continued on with my modeling career, and then back to New York City. And now I can actually say I've traveled outside the globe, on numerous occasions as a model.
Everywhere.
And I'm grateful for the opportunities of being able to see the world, through these
It did
eyes.
open those doors for you. And you go to Dubai, you're everywhere. Y'all need to be following Renee Knorr. Follow her on Instagram, Facebook. She does amazing traveling and she shows pictures, and you can just live vicariously through her or be smart and connect with her. And I'm going to ask you another question. Again, you went on this wonderful Ebony tour. How did you get that big break? What did you do? Was it an ad in the paper? Did you have an agent? Tell me some nuts and bolts about how that happened.
You know how that happened? I was in a car accident.
Ooh.
Prior to that journey, Aurea.
Wow.
I never even thought about becoming an Ebony Fashion Fair model. And that accident landed me in a hospital for 5 days. I was unconscious for 2 days, couldn't walk or anything like that. During that process, you know what I did? I still stayed consistent and working out. I still stayed consistent and focusing on the bigger picture. I didn't just get into that whole victim mentality.
Right.
Now, it did take a lot out of me, guys. Oh my goodness, because I had to recommit and rededicate myself to who I was. After I went through an 8 months, that was 8 months of no walking in heels, no turning on, trying to become a model or anything like that. My girlfriend asked me to submit my pictures to Ebony Fashion Fair. I went into a point of, no one's going to want me. Are you kidding me? She said,
how old were you?
At that time, I was 27.
Okay.
I was 27. And she said, will you please just submit your pictures? I submitted my pictures. Not only did they invited me to come to Chicago, because that's where Ebony Fashion Fair was based out of, Chicago, Illinois. I did have that invitation. I went not only once, but twice. And from there, everything was history. I became one of the international Ebony Fashion Fair faces. And I will say the reason why, because I maintained my consistency. I always made sure I took care of myself. And when that opportunity presented itself, I was ready. I stayed prepared.
Renee, you remind me, I say this all the time. I've said this for decades. My age is showing. For decades, I say opportunity isn't just being in the right place at the right time. People used to say that all the time in the 70s and 80s. You got to be in the right place at the right time. No, you don't. You have to be in the right place at the right time with the right preparation. Because I know somebody who got called to do the Oprah show back in the 90s. She got called in to do the Oprah show for her nonprofit, her breast cancer awareness thing. And she turned it down because she wasn't ready, thinking that they would come back around and some other time. Do you think Oprah's going to come back around to you? You got, those opportunities happen once in a lifetime. And she ended up dying from breast cancer, and that never came to fruition. Of course, it was many years later she passed away. She didn't have breast cancer at the time, but it always stuck in my mind. You have to be ready, because those opportunities don't come back around. And you were ready. And God bless your friend. We all need a wingman. We need to have a wingman woman and be a wingman woman to other people, to say, get up out of that bed. Because women, we think so hard on ourselves. I'm not good enough. I'm not this enough. Oh, there's somebody so much better than me. You've been lying in that bed for so long now trying to recover. Who am I to go to ebony and become a fashion model. I'm not ready. It's better to go on your worst day, when you know that you're prepared and you've been living this and being prepared, exercising, taking care of yourself. You knew you had the goods. So even on your worst day was better than most people's best day because you had prepared for that moment.
Yes.
So I'm so glad you went.
Well, thank you. And I really appreciate you asking that question as well, Aurea. A lot of people don't even know I lost 75 pounds before I even came to Atlanta also. And the reason of me even losing that weight was because I was here to help service someone else. So therefore they can go and continue on accomplishing their dreams. I wasn't even thinking about losing weight. I was every bit of a size 18. And that's not saying anything because, size really doesn't matter. But when you're comfortable in your skin that you're in, that makes all the difference. And when I lost my 75 pounds, that's when my doors really opened up for me. And I was, I'm ready. And that's one of the things I realized being this little girl from New Orleans, never thought about becoming an international model. However, I was ready for opportunities that presented myself and that presented, that I was being able to be presented towards. And then also taking on each opportunity as a learning experience as well. Yeah. And that's something what people have to understand. Not all times you're going to have a great outcome, but you know what? You can make a difference. And with some of the stories that you share or some of the moments that you take away, allow that to be a part of your new journey. And that's what I did. And I'm grateful for it.
You really do. You do it so well, and you hand that work ethic and that stick-to-itiveness and that what I call my Tigger bounce back. And when I bounced back from cancer, people gave me a Tigger and said, you're going to bounce back in no time. So it's a big, big thing for me is that Tigger mentality. You pass that on to your daughter, and she is a chip off the block because she's got that same beauty, that philanthropy, that she's going to be that great best next generation that this world needs, not just her beauty, but her beautiful soul and spirit to make this world better because she's in it and because you were in it first and your mother was in it before you. So that generational passing down is so amazing. I would have loved to meet your mom and see, who's responsible for this beautiful person in my life. So
well, you meet her, you do, because she's a part of me. Every day, Willie Mae Wilson is a part of me. We're born January 23rd. And
no,
amazing. Yeah, we're both born on January 23rd.
Same birthday? Oh my gosh, that's so incredible. I love that.
Same birthdays.
All right, I know we've just got a few minutes left, and I want you to talk for just a quick few minutes about women wealth warriors because I want the women that are listening to know they can be wealthy, and you've got a platform in a way that they could be wealthy. So tell us just a little bit about it in maybe a few minutes, and then I'm going to send them to your website if they want more information.
Absolutely. What's so great about being able to bridge the gap with financial literacy alongside with health and wellness, my journey has been able to combine all three of my worlds. And because I've been able to combine all three of my worlds, it's important for women to have that voice in this space. Don't be afraid. We're not here to compete, but what we are here, so therefore we can educate each other. So therefore you as a woman can have a seat at the table when it comes down to financial literacy. We take the opportunity to show you how to create wealth. We love showing you how to multiply and compound your currency. But most importantly, we have fun and we absolutely love to travel. So those are some of the things that's important for us. Maintaining your financial literacy space, because that's something that women always are afraid of. Why? Because no one really showed them. So we help you, we guide you, and most importantly, we stand right there. Sister, we're going to make sure you get it.
And you do, Renee. You're that type. I got to tell everybody, listeners, viewers, Renee is the type of person that will pick up the phone. You know, that old-fashioned phone that nobody uses anymore except to text and to watch videos and reels. She picks it up and she gets the phone. Hey, how are you doing? I'm like, oh, this is a friend. It's not a spam call or, somebody trying to sell you something. She just doesn't make that appointment. Like, let's get on our calendars. Let's make it. She just picks up the phone and calls you. I'm like, oh, and she's in my phone now, so I know it's her and I answer. But that is such a lost art to pick up the phone and talk to people. And you do that. You pour into people and you pour into the next generation. So if you're listening, it's globalwomenwealthwarriors.com. globalwomenwealthwarriors.com. It's such a great website full of information on how you can grow your wealth with a sisterhood of women who are right there to show you how to do it. And since you're making so much money, they give back and they travel together. What more could we want? I mean, oh my gosh, it is time to get back to life. I know we still have some caveats. We're doing this show in September of 2021, so we're still not all out of the gate yet, but we do things safely, we do things properly, and we've got to live a life and, make your money now so then when you are ready to travel, you'll have plenty of it to do with. So I'm so glad.
Absolutely.
All right, quick success tip before I get to my rapid fire questions. If you could give the next generation of women, especially young girls, a success tip on how to be successful, how to be really successful, what would that one tip be?
Invest in yourself. You have to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
When it comes down to anything and everything, you have to take the time to put money in you in order for you to become successful. One of the great things about how we show you how to do that, because you don't take things for granted. And when you are able to take, no matter if it's $10, $100, $2,000, it doesn't matter. When you put money towards your education, okay, that really shows you how committed you are to yourself. And that's something that will show you the importance behind why we have to start investing in ourselves and taking the opportunity and becoming an investor, not just saving money, not just waiting for the lottery to come. Okay, please. All right. We show you how to multiply, compound your currency. And I love showing you how to also understanding that cryptocurrency space. Ladies, this is our season. This is where it's about right now. We are that equalizer. And because we're that equalizer, we are the game changers. A lot of people know me for three things, because I am a global traveler.
Yeah.
I love to play golf, but I doggone enjoy learning how to keep growing our money with the cryptocurrency space. I've taught and I've helped my daughter as well to also diversify her portfolio in that space.
I love that you're a woman talking about a portfolio, teaching your daughter who's 21 about a financial portfolio, when back in my day, nobody talked about money. It was like, well, money was the bad thing. You don't ask how much you have, what you do. It's like such a secret thing. And just, go to college, you be what you want to be and grow up and make money. But they didn't used to talk about it a lot, especially the wealthier families. It was more secretive. Now I love that you're talking about it. Here, start your own portfolio. You're 21 or you're 16 or you're 14. Here, I've started a portfolio for you. Here's what it looks like. Here's what it is. And my daughter was just, she's homeschooling right now. And they were I overheard them on the kitchen counter talking about stocks and investing. And I'm like, I'm so glad that our history class, it was some kind of economics / history, was talking about what a stock was, stock market. And they gave them this project of, you have to go find 5 businesses that are like sure things for investing. At least they're starting to think about it. They're starting to see the difference in what the stock market is. It's not the scary thing that guys in suits do on Wall Street and ring a bell,
Yes.
So I'm so
there
glad
are more faces that look like you and I are right
Yes.
there that's able to manage our portfolios. As a matter of fact, my keynote speaker last year, the youngest was at the age of 11.
Ooh, I
11 years
love
of age.
that.
Yes.
Love that. Love it. Well, keep that up. All right, everybody go to Global Women Wealth Warriors. Support it. Be part of it. Just look at it, because if it sparks some interest, Renee is the real deal. I vouch for her. She is such an amazing woman and will pour into you and your children, your grandchildren, whatever it is that you need when it has to do with women and wealth and growth. And she'll just inspire you. So I totally encourage you to do that. So my last 2 questions, Renee, are just some rapid fire. I love to ask some fun questions at the end. And your 2 questions today are, if you saw a favorite television show or movie when you were young, or even currently, that truly impacted the trajectory of your life or career, what was that? Did you have a TV show or movie that really impacted you and made you think differently, or make you go for a dream or not go for a dream?
Well, 2 of my favorite movies, I'm going to say 2 of my favorite movies, definitely is Devil's Wear Prada.
Of course.
Just absolutely love that movie. And the way Glenn Close, was it Glenn Close? No, it was Meryl Streep. It was
Meryl
Meryl.
Streep.
That's right.
Confuse
Meryl
me.
did that one. I'm thinking about the 100 Dalmatian.
Right, you like that one.
That was another great one as well. But her poise, her grace, the way she carried herself was just exceptional. And she was just always on point, always prepared, and just a sense of excellence. That's what I liked about that movie. And I would say, I'm sorry, the movie with Brad Pitt, which is, God, look,
now you made me forget.
Come on.
Oh God, you said it earlier.
My favorite movie, and I can't even think of it right now.
You know, you just said it too.
I know. It's okay. It doesn't matter. Anthony Hopkins, Brad Pitt, Legends of the Falls.
There you go.
Legends of the Falls. I had to go back and utilize my brains there, okay? Legends of the Falls. That was the first movie I ever fell in love with Brad Pitt. And I just absolutely love the storyline about Legends of the Fall. It talked to you about love. It talked to you about affection. Most importantly, it really gave you family, because that was a movie that showed how important.
You're good. Did you lose me? Can you hear me?
I can see it. That movie gave you the importance of how to stay together as a family. That's what I love about it.
That's a good one. That's a good one. And last but not least, in 30 seconds, who would you like to meet, dead or alive, that's famous? And what's one thing you would ask them?
Dead or alive, famous. I want to always say Oprah Winfrey. It doesn't bother me at all. Okay. I had the pleasure of meeting Oprah at a distance, but I would love to sit down and interview Oprah Winfrey.
What would you ask her?
Oprah Winfrey has the biggest heart.
She does.
And as she continues in living in her better years of her life right now, how can she become my mentor so therefore I can continue on, not only walking in her footsteps, but allowing me to elevate myself to the next level? Because that's what's so great about Oprah. She knows how to bring out the best in every woman. And that's what I would love because of her heart.
I love it. I love it. That's great. And you know what? You'd think that everybody would have said that before you, but nobody has. You're the first one to say Oprah. We have said Tyler Perry before, but that's a good one. I love that. Mm-hmm. Renee, it's always a pleasure. It's so great to be able to see you. Can't wait to hug you again sometime very soon. That is my prayer. I know big hugs. Keep doing what you're doing. I love you so much. Everybody follow Renee Knorr, the beautiful one, on Instagram, Clubhouse. You will not be sorry. GlobalWomenWealthWarriors.com. Renee, thank you. And we'll have you on again. Get a follow-up sometime next year as well. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Aurea. Continue to keep up the great work. And I'm so happy that I've been celebritized by you today.
Thank you. Get celebritized. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you next time.
Sounds
good. Bye,
great.
Renee.
Bye.
I am so glad she was here. It was so much fun. It's connecting with girlfriends that I haven't seen in forever. And it's so great that I can share them with you. And that's not all. I've got another friend I'm going to introduce you to, which I have not had the pleasure of hugging in person. This is a wonderful woman I have met on Clubhouse. If you have not joined up with Clubhouse, it is a free app and it's an audio app, and you get to hear people's stories, hear people's voices. And I absolutely am in love with the platform of Clubhouse, because I would not know so many of these people that I'm going to introduce you to in the coming weeks and months. And one of them right now is so special because she's been talking about her story, talking about being in the media, talking about being a producer of the news. So you know that my ears perked up. I'm like, Eliza, we need to know each other. Not sure why or what the deal will be, but I just want to get to know you. So instead of just having a normal phone call, it's like, come on my podcast and I'll get to know you along with everybody else getting to know you at the same time. So I'm bringing on Eliza Friedlander, who is a freelance journalist and PR strategist working with mission-based female-founded brands. And I love that. Mission-based. She's got my heart already. On media placement and how to leverage that placement. She definitely walks the walk of work-life balance. At work, she writes about motherhood, parenting, and lifestyle trends. And in life, she is a wife, a mother of 2 girls, right now ages 4.5 and 6. Eliza, come on down. Here she comes.
Hi. I have to update my bio. I guess I shouldn't have put the ages in. I guess I wrote that when they were 4.5 and 6. Now
How
they're
old are they now?
How 5 almost 6 and 7.5.
Okay, so 6 and 7.5.
But we skipped 18 months. I mean, these last 18 months weren't really real, right?
Exactly.
Right? They don't count. We all get to
just
subtract 1.5 years from our ages.
I love that.
Yeah. Let's do
that.
it.
After I have my 60th birthday celebration and raise 60,000 for the people of Haiti, then I'll go
Yep,
back.
but then you'll go back to 58, and then you'll do it all over again.
Woohoo! I love it. I love it.
120,000.
Good point. All right. If you don't know what we're talking about, this is September 8th, 2021. If you listen to this later on down the road, which so many people will, is my birthday is October 7th, 2021. I'm turning 60. And I have this goal of, I've been doing it for the last almost 60 days. We're into the last 30 now, of my 60-day journey to 60 years old or young, and to raise $60,000 for the people of Haiti, who right now, the president was assassinated. The earthquake came, the 7.2 earthquake, many tremors after that. And right after that, like a couple days later, they got hit with some tropical storms Grace. They are just, 3 strikes, you figure out we are helping them. So people are going to love him, love them. And I'll put it up here on the screen. Wonderful nonprofit that helps the people of Haiti. Lovehimlovethem.org. So whenever you're listening to this or watching this, they will always need your help. The people of Haiti will always need your help. And this organization gets it to them hands-on, no middlemen. So with that, Eliza, you are not only just a mother, a freelance journalist, you're in the media, you talk about so many things on Clubhouse. So let's start a little bit about what you do now between the motherhood, freelance writing, and the media, because you talk a lot about being a news producer. So we want to talk some success talk, but first tell us a little bit about what you've done and what you do right now.
So yeah, I was a TV producer. I worked morning shows. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So my hours were at one station, 2 a.m. to 10 a.m., and one station, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., overnight shift.
And so that was DC, right? Before children.
One in DC.
And DC, like before children.
Oh, before children, but yes, also one in Washington, DC. So exactly. Yes, that was before children. And, when I got into journalism, when I got into TV, I always thought I would go the traditional route of small market, start in the middle of nowhere, work my way up, eventually end up in New York City and be at the Today Show or Good Morning America, right. The dream of everyone who's in TV news. And I met my husband. We ended up settling down. We both are from Maryland, so we live here now. He was established. I wasn't going anywhere. I was working in local news, and I was seeing a disconnect between local news stations using new forms of communication and technology. So I was seeing this disconnect of what we were doing on TV and trying to repurpose it for digital platforms, but we weren't repurposing it with purpose. We were almost taking the story and just throwing it up on these other communication platforms or communication channels, because essentially that is what social media is. It is a communication platform, a communication channel. So right. I decided to leave my job as a TV news producer simultaneously with finding out I was pregnant with my first daughter, who is now 7, and got a master's degree in emerging media throughout my pregnancy so that I could learn how to use new technologies, new platforms for brand awareness, and to really strategically know how to use these digital platforms that were at the time just starting to emerge, hence emerging media. However, weren't going to go away, and we were only going to get new ones. So if you have the strategies, if you have the tools, that combined with my traditional journalism background, I wanted to figure out a way to be able to be both a professional and a parent in the opposite order. I wanted to be a parent and a professional at some point. I knew I wanted to stay home. I knew I wanted to be able to have flexibility in my career. I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to do that in TV news. So I set myself up early on so that when I did want to go back, when my kids were in school, I was thinking, down the line that there were things I could do to use my communications and traditional media and journalism background, but be able to do it in a way that was more flexible than news is. Because if you think about it, there really are I was doing the math, and there are 4 stations where I live. So if I wanted to be able to work hours that my kids were in school, That's either the 12 p.m. news, which with budget cuts, that's going to be the first one to go.
Right.
And I was already thinking that. The 5 o'clock news, which is still not great because by the time that's over, it's 6 o'clock, or the 6 o'clock news, which is not great because then you're done at 7 and you still miss dinner, bedtime. So really there wasn't really one that I could figure out how it was going to fit into a way that I could be present with my kids and there. So I figured it out in a different way. I took a different path.
All right, so tell us, because you know what you just said, Eliza, is the plight of so many women and mothers, especially young mothers, and they love what they do. They know they have a calling of a certain career path, but then putting kids in the mix of it does mix it up a bit. And just what you said doesn't always work, but you don't want to not do what you're good at. So tell us real quick, what was the answer? We want to know what worked, because I know other women will do the same thing.
So for me, what worked and what is working, and honestly, I'm still at the beginning of my journey. I am constantly growing. I am constantly changing. And it's been really awesome for me to see this progression and now look back and think that I really haven't, in my head, sometimes I'm like, I'm still where I was 3 years ago. I haven't made much progress. But when I think about it and I really look to inside and to the past, I am like in such a different place than I was even just 2-3 years ago. And I did that during a pandemic also.
Yeah,
when my kids were home for 18 months. So for me, what's worked is I now combine this traditional form of journalism. So I do writing. I took my TV skills and I translated them to writing. So I started contributing to different publications. I started with a really hyper-local magazine, and it's since grown to more national publications. But I've taken those skills and instead of telling stories on TV, I tell stories through writing. And I do public relations and I do strategy, and I work with brands that are mission driven, that have stories to tell. Essentially, the root of what I love about TV news is sharing stories. I did not love and I love the positive side of sharing stories. You know, news is if it bleeds, it leads. It's always, it's like, it gets exhausting. And I loved when I was able to share the lifestyle side or do a little bit more of what they would call in the news a puff piece.
Right.
Those are my favorite. I love puff. I love puff.
Yeah, we're talking about the news. If it bleeds, it leads. Enough of that.
Bleeds, it leads. And so I really wanted to be able to still tell stories. And so that is what I'm able to do now through PR and through public relations. And there are so many different ways to tell stories. It doesn't just have to be on TV. And so I really focus on using these new platforms of communication. You know, the gatekeepers are gone. We can all share our story. And it's just how you share it and how you craft it and put it together that sets you apart from the other people within your field or your industry. So I'm able to use those skills of storytelling and management and picking out good content and really doing it in a different way. And I still work with media professionals and I still work with people in the news, and I know how they work. And so it's this win-win. I kind of bring together the two forces.
And that's great. So if somebody came to you, because now I know you're a journalist and you write and you probably blog because you talk about the mother and the career. I think it's great. Anybody that's, having kids and needs to balance life, you are the person, but you do more. So if a brand comes to you that's mission branded, what is it that you do for them? What's that problem that you solve? So if I came to you as a client, what do you do? What problem do you solve for me, and how do you do that?
So I help you get really clear on your message in a way that media and publications will want to share it. So if you come to me, if you're mission driven, you have a story to share. There is something more than just the product that you are offering or the service that you are offering. I help you get to the depth of what it is that story, what sets you apart, and why does a media outlet want to share your story, or why do the people who are following you on these different platforms want to know your story and hear about your story, and why is it so important for you to share your story as opposed to just sharing your product or just sharing your services. And so how to take this 360-degree approach to getting your message out there, raising brand awareness. So it's really using these platforms and using journalism as a way to share your brand, share your message, and get this social proof that what you're doing really matters. You know what you're doing matters. I know what you're doing matters. We need the rest of the world to know what you're doing matters. And at the end of the day, having people talking about it is going to be what drives others to want to either participate in what your service is or buy your product. And so I take all of this and we come up with a strategy, a plan, a 360-degree approach. What do you do once you get that media hit? Where do you put it? You know, if somebody doesn't catch
them. Oh my gosh, that's great.
If somebody doesn't catch the 5 o'clock news,
what happens?
What do you do with it? Do you put it on your website? How do you then repurpose
it? Put it on their website, or they put it on their Facebook page?
How do you repurpose it for other platforms? And how do you use these platforms in a way?
And do you have the rights to use it?
And all of these things. So this whole approach, but it all starts with a foundation and it all starts with a strategy. And that's where I start. And that's a step that most people skip, is that foundation strategy. Because let's be honest, it's not the sexiest. And also it's not tangible in the sense that you have plans, and it's like when you have architectural plans, you have a plan, you see it, but you aren't actually seeing the build.
Right. And you can't just go paint the house until it's built. You can't do all the pretty stuff.
But people want to skip that part and go right to the creation of the content because that's the exciting part. That's the sexy part. That's what you think is going to move the needle. And it is what's going to move the needle, but it's not going to move the needle unless you have that strategy or plan.
And do you work with small solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, small businesses, or do you work with big corporations? Because people that are listening, would they think that, oh, that would be just too much, I could never afford that? Or are you for the smaller business owner?
Yep. So I work with both.
Okay.
My passion is the small business startup. I am so passionate about people who, and I keep going back to this, have a message, have a story to share. I work with nonprofits. I work with businesses who are trying to shift the narrative around parenting. I work with people who want to empower women. You know, I am very focused on the mission. And if I don't believe in it, I will not work with you. And I'm very confident in that because I need to be an extension of you.
Yeah.
And you want me to be an extension of you. Exactly. And I love talking to people about PR and journalism and media also, in the sense that not everybody knows the inner workings of a media outlet. Not everybody knows what happens. Not everybody knows what to look out for when you're trying to hire a publicist or somebody to help you with your PR. So I really love being that sounding board too for small business owners and entrepreneurs so that you really know what it is you're getting into and why you're getting into it.
And Lisa, you said some things that really make a difference. What I hear, because when I celebritize businesses, I'm hearing some things that make you really different that other people aren't saying. When you get with the publicist, yeah, they do great things. But with you, it really seems like you have the goods of that journalism, that news. You've worked in the newsrooms. So, of course, you know better than anybody how to take our stories and turn them into newsworthy stories because you've been inside the back room. You've been in the industry first, and now you know exactly what they're looking for. You know exactly what sells, you know exactly how to repurpose it. So like you said, so they want to tell your story. So I think that makes you completely different than a lot of people that I've talked to.
Yeah. And the very beginning of my process, honestly, is when I sign on with you as a client, no matter your size, the very first thing I do is we sit down and we have at least an hour of an in-depth interview, if not more. As though I am writing an expose about you. So I put away all of the public relations side and I fully wear the journalistic hat and interview you to know what it is you're doing, who you are, because also what doesn't seem newsworthy to you doesn't necessarily mean it's not newsworthy. And so if you only share what you think is newsworthy, there are so many pieces that we're missing and so many angles to different stories that we don't know. And I want to be able to know you as a full person, as this 360-degree human, all of your nuances, where you went to school, where you grew up, what your family life is like, how you got into the business, things.
You're a real journalist. You dig deep.
I dig deep, and things that you would probably think, you're like, why is she even asking me this? And then we turn it around and craft it. Yes.
So nosy.
But it just is those little touch points that make you who you are that is really what makes things newsworthy.
Yeah, and plus you'll be able to tell more about what shows they should go on. Because like I tell people, you don't want to be on every show. There's certain shows that yes, you want to be on, and others you want to say no to. It's not your piece of cake. It's not your jam. It's not for you. You're going to just waste your time. We just don't want to be everywhere on everything. Less is more. It kind of think like Michael Jackson. To get an interview with him was like a big deal because he didn't say yes to everything. So when you got him, you paid attention. It's like, oh my gosh, you know, Barbara Walters is interviewing the people nobody else can get a hold of. Oprah does the interviews of people that you know that this story Oprah's going to get. They're not going to be everywhere. So we need to be the same selective. And you know from the innuendos that we tell you, you know, where the best place is. So we're not everywhere because everywhere means anybody can get her. Everybody, you know, it's no big deal. You'd be more exclusive. Oh, did you hear the interview she did on that one? We better hear that's the only place she did that. You know, I think that's great. And I'm learning so much about you. And this is why I want you on the show because I didn't really know I knew you were in the industry. Now I'm putting the dots together. Do you know how many people I know that need to know you? I'm so excited. And this is how we collaborate on Clubhouse is we get to know more about what we do because of our voice and we're telling each other. Now I'm thinking, oh my God, my head's spinning. Holy cow.
I'm so excited. Yeah. And it is this like collaborative space. And I just,
affiliate, I see affiliates going on because I don't do what you do and you don't do what I do. We have our space that we're excellent at, and my clients and you, and vice versa. This is going to be amazing. We're going to be talking. And if you all that are listening and watching want to get a hold of Eliza, you need to go to Clubhouse with it's spelled differently than it sounds. It's Eliza Friedlander, but it's spelled for those listening, Eliza, Aliza Fried. Lander, Lander. Look her up, Instagram, Clubhouse. She is going to be everywhere. She can really help you get your voice out. And you know, my motto is you need to earn more so you can live more, so you can give back more. And those in my world are giving back more, which brings them back to the stories. You work with mission-driven people. That's who I work with. So you're going to see so much more of us together. That is for sure. Eliza, this has been a pleasure. I'm so glad to get to know you. I want to have you back because I really want to talk more about this. And so far, I haven't really invited anybody to come like right back quickly, but I do want you to come back quickly so we can spend more time on this. Because
Aurea, anytime you want, I will be here.
You're awesome. You're awesome. This is such a great point because now there's so many people pivoting or so many solopreneurs and entrepreneurs that really they're great at what they do. And I celebritize them, but they need you to help them write that story the way it needs to be written. I am not a writer. I'll say all day long, don't ask me to write nothing, you know, but I can do everything else. You do the part that is so hard to do. So with that, we've only got like a minute left. Eliza, come back. We're going to ask you some wonderful rapid fire questions, but I'm going to ask you real quick. Did you have a TV show or movie that changed your career or changed the way you walked through life after you saw it?
So I've been thinking about this. I love TV, and my parents said from the beginning I was going to be in TV. I thought for a hot second I was going to be a lawyer. I majored in English and journalism in college. Turned out I wasn't going to be a lawyer, was in TV, loved TV from forever.
Me too.
Always have loved it. So I don't think any show really gave me a change, but I give you my top 3 shows that I watch over and over again that I love. Full House, Friends, Schitt's Creek.
I love
about those for hours.
All right. If I could name
top 3,
you just said it. Will and Grace add to it, and we've got the 4 combo.
Yeah, top 3. I love them. Over the pandemic, I watched Full House with my daughters. It was wonderful. Daughter. We watched Fuller House.
Yes.
I watched Schitt's Creek. I mean, I could talk TV all day, every day. I know everything about these shows and so many others. And my parents are like, of course you work in TV.
Right. Of course. You need to know my older daughter. She can recite every line from Friends. I mean, like, she would win a Trivia Pursuit.
Oh my God. I have a pivot shirt. Like,
of course. I love this. All right, I have to have you back. We have a hard stop. I love you, Eliza. I'm so glad we did this. We're going to do lunch. We're going to do Zoom. We're going to get to know each other better. And you know what, guys? Ladies, I'm bringing her back. She's going to come back. We're going to talk all things media and getting your story out there so you can be the best known go-to celebrity in your industry. No matter what your current industry is, we're going to get your stories out between the two of us. We got your back. Thank you for being with us. Come back for more Get Celebritized. Eliza, thank you so much. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.